Okay, all right. Grab your metaphorical diving gear because we've just received a stack of sources from a listener, and they offer a genuine shortcut to understanding something truly fascinating, a hidden world operating just beneath the surface of our everyday reality. This deep dive feels like stepping into a place full of secret histories and powers you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, and what's immediately intriguing about these sources is how disparate they appear at first glance. We have accounts of a soldier returning home, a dying man's mysterious message, notes on a journey all the way to Mongolia, and then suddenly, mentions of magic in clandestine societies. Our mission today is to sift through these elements and, by connecting the dots the sources provide, uncover a hidden conflict with global implications. There are details here that absolutely spark those aha moments we look for.
Definitely. So let's set the scene right at the beginning of these sources. We're in England, roughly the late 1870s, right?
That's right. And we meet Captain Gabriel Huntley, stepping onto shore in Southampton after 15 years away. He served the British Empire in places like the Crimea, Turkey, India, Abyssinia. Quite a tour.
15 years, wow.
Yeah. And the sources describe his anticipation. He'd resigned his commission, looking forward to deciding his own future after years of taking orders.
Finally, his own man.
Exactly. He's got a letter from a friend mentioning a textile agent job up in Leeds, maybe even finding a respectable girl. Just, quiet, ordinary life.
That sounds like the perfect plan for, well, tranquil stability. But what do the sources tell us happens less than an hour after he's back on English soil?
Well, they make it clear that tranquility isn't really in the cards for him. Not immediately, anyway. He's walking near the docks on a misty, narrow street, heading for a pub, when his soldier's instincts just take over.
He hears trouble.
He hears trouble, sees one man being savagely attacked by half a dozen others in an alley. The sources highlight his immediate visceral reaction. His blood turns to fire, he knows it's wrong, and his training just compels him to act. He dives straight into the brawl.
And the sources give us a glimpse of his capabilities here right away. Describe that fight.
It's quick and brutal, just as you'd expect from someone with his background. He's immediately thrown against a wall, but his pack absorbs the blow. He's grabbed, but he uses his knee, his boot heel, his fists. The sources note he consciously avoids firearms because it's too close quarters, too dangerous.
Smart.
Yeah. He's described as having learned to fight in the worst conditions, feeling he has nothing left to fear. It's almost like this sudden violence is maybe more familiar territory for him than the idea of a quiet civilian life.
That's quite a thought.
The attackers are driven off, but they leave behind their victim, Anthony Morris, who is fatally wounded. Huntley is left holding him.
And the sources emphasize a crucial moment just before Morris collapses. What happens that creates an immediate bond, according to these accounts?
Right, this is key. As Huntley reaches Morris, dozens of small metallic wasps, that's what they're called, suddenly slam into the brick wall right where Huntley's head had been moments before. They punch clean holes in the brick.
Wow, lethal.
Extremely. And Morris manages to push Huntley out of the way just in time. So in the instant he's trying to help, Huntley's life is saved by the man who's dying. And the sources state this triggers an unbreakable rule of honor. For Huntley, he is bound, absolutely bound to help this man who just saved him.
Bound by honor. So Huntley asks if Morris has a letter or a message, and this is where the mission begins, isn't it?
It really is. Morris can't write it down. The sources say there are no mail rates where it needs to go, so it has to be delivered personally.
Personally.
He asks Huntley to take a message and an object to a friend, Franklin Burgess, all the way in Urga, Outer Mongolia.
Mongolia. That's quite the detour from Leeds. What do the sources say about Huntley's reaction to this sudden massive change in plans?
Surprisingly, the sources note his internal thought that an adventure into unknown lands was infinitely preferable to tranquil stability.
Hey, after 15 years of orders.
Yeah, maybe because of 15 years of rigid military life, the idea of structureless adventure appeals more than the quiet life he thought he wanted just an hour ago. He accepts. Morris whispers the message. The suns are ascendant. Seek the woman who feeds the tortoise. Huntley finds it incomprehensible, just 2 lines of nonsense.
And he's also given an object. What do the sources describe about this compass?
It's a critical detail from the sources. Morris directs him to a small, circular metal compass. The description is highly specific. Minute writing on the case in Greek, Hebrew, and Sanskrit.
Ancient languages.
Right. And the points of the compass aren't north, south, east, west, but represented by different blades. A Roman tugio, a European rapier, a Near Eastern scimitar, and an East Indian chrisna.
Collection of blades.
And at the very center is an English rose.
That's a very specific collection of symbols. What does the source material suggest about the significance of these choices? The languages, the particular blades, the rows?
Well, the sources don't explicitly state it right here, but as the narrative unfolds, it becomes pretty clear that this compass is a deliberate symbol. The different blades seem to represent the span of the world. The blades of the rose operate across, hinting at their global reach and historical roots in different cultures.
Makes sense.
The rose suggests their origins, or perhaps a core focus on England, but also the mercy that is apparently part of their creed. And the ancient languages imply immense age, a connection to deep history. This compass isn't just a navigation tool, it's a calling card, a historical artifact in itself.
Got it.
The sources describe the compass as feeling exceptionally old with the heaviness of precious metal, and Huntley feels whispers of the past, a lure of distant shores. Morris gives his final instruction. Deliver the compass to Burgess and say, "North is eternal." Then he dies.
Just like that.
It's just like that. Huntley is left on a misty street with a dead man, a bizarre mission across the world, a strange compass, and the lingering question of those metallic wasps.
So much for the textile agent job. Our sources then transport us across the globe. We transition to Urga, outer Mongolia, and meet Thalia Burgess, living with her father, Franklin.
Yes, and the sources quickly established that Thalia is not your typical English woman of the era, not at all. She wears a dell, some Mongolian robe trousers, and boots. She's a skilled writer. When news reaches her that an Englishman is asking for her father, her immediate reaction, according to the sources, is alarm.
Alarm. Why?
She suspects it might be connected to a group she calls the Heirs. She's already wary.
Okay. So Huntley arrives at the Burgess-sker, this Mongolian tent.
Right. And the sources describe his surprise at finding an Englishwoman in such a place, his awkwardness around genteel ladies, but his immediate recognition that Thalia isn't quite a lady in that traditional sense, but very much a woman.
What did the sources say about the initial interaction between them?
It's charged from the start, according to the sources. Thalia gives a sketch for Curtsy, but is instantly assessing him. She notes his sure bearing and capacity for lethal movement, and notably has an internal thought that he'd be a fine addition to the Heirs, which unnerves her because she's wary of them.
Interesting. And Huntley?
Huntley, in turn, is intensely aware of her, described as feeling unnerved by something specifically masculine in his reaction to her, noting her golden eyes and his own whiskey voice. The sources emphasize this strong, immediate physical and psychological connection despite their very unusual circumstances.
Despite the tension, Huntley delivers the news of Morris's death, which the sources state shocks Franklin and Thalia profoundly failed. Morris was a closest friend, like a younger brother to Franklin.
Yeah, real blow.
Then Huntley delivers the message. The sons are ascendant, seek the woman who feeds the tortoise, and he presents the compass, repeating, "Morris gave this to me, say to him, North is eternal." How do the sources describe Franklin and Thalia's reaction to this?
It's immediate recognition and dread. They curse, they grip the table for support, they know exactly what it means. The sources quote their reaction. It was beginning.
It was beginning.
Exactly. The compass, as we hinted earlier, is immediately recognized by them as a prized possession of their own secret group, the Blades of the Rose. This proves Huntley is trustworthy, despite being a stranger.
And here the sources finally lay out the core conflict and organizations. Who are the Blades of the Rose and the Heirs of Albion, according to this material?
Right. The sources reveal the Blades of the Rose are a secret, ancient group over 1,000 years old composed of both men and women. Their mission is to protect magical sources from exploitation.
Magical sources.
They become more organized over time, particularly as European nations expanded their empires and sought to harness power. The compass, as we discussed, symbolizes their mission. Blades for span, rose for mercy, implying this global protective network.
And opposing them are the Heirs of Albion. What do the sources tell us about their goals and methods?
The heirs, as presented in these sources, are explicitly seeking sources for Britain's imperial gain. They believe these powers should be used to ensure England's supremacy. Huntley's initial impression of Morris's attackers, upper-crust men who kill unarmed men in alleyways and assault women, aligns perfectly with the heirs' ruthlessness described later.
So, not nice guys.
Definitely not. The sources state they stopped at nothing, even murdering their own countrymen if necessary. Huntley's immediate dislike, stated as "I hate them already," never stood for bullying, immediately solidifies his place on the side of the Blades, even before he fully understands the magic part.
So the message "the Suns are ascendant" is the heirs announcing their move, specifically targeting a source in Mongolia. The compass identifies Huntley as connected to the Blades, making him an unexpected but crucial ally.
Exactly. Thalia is initially hesitant about Huntley, the sources note, even trying to get him to leave for his own safety.
Understandable.
But Huntley insists he's committed, seeing it as his new job. And he proves his worth almost immediately because the heirs attack shortly after he arrives.
Already, okay.
Yeah. The sources detail this attack by Lamb, Edgeworth, and send the large Mongol Huntley fought back in Southampton along with mercenaries. Huntley shoots one of the thugs. But this isn't just a conventional fight, is it? This attack reveals the true nature of this hidden world.
How so?
No, it absolutely isn't conventional. Edgeworth begins chanting using a magical source he possesses, described in the sources as Mjolnir, the true hammer of Thor, which he can manipulate from a distance.
Mjolnir, like Thor's hammer.
Apparently so, according to these sources.
Yeah.
The effect is terrifying and dramatic. A storm is summoned, followed by a massive wall of water. The sources describe beasts, demonic combinations of animals made of water that tear through the area. Batu, their servant, is snatched from his horse by a talon of water.
That's intense.
Very. Huntley and Thalia manage to save Batu and find shelter in a nearby cave, losing supplies in the process. And here, drying off by a fire, and the sources do make a point of noting Thalia disrobes to dry her clothes, which causes Huntley significant internal turmoil, suggesting the complexity of their budding relationship.
Uh-huh. Awkward campfire moment.
You could say that. But it's here. Thalia lays it all out for Huntley.
This is the big reveal from the sources. Magic is real.
Precisely. Myths and legends aren't just stories. They are lore surrounding this real magic. Thor, Mjolnir, they're connected to sources. These sources are immensely powerful and, crucially, need to be protected and kept hidden because, according to the sources, their widespread exploitation would lead to mutual destruction.
High stakes. And Huntley's reaction, he's a soldier, a man of the tangible world. How did the sources describe him processing this?
Remarkably, he accepts it almost immediately. The sources show him quickly connecting it back to the metallic wasps in Southampton.
Ah.
He realizes that was likely another source being used. He instantly grasps the scale of the stakes, not just his life, but thousands, even more, lives at stake. His soldier's pragmatism allows him to incorporate this new reality.
So he's in.
He's in. The compass isn't enough on its own, but the message means the heirs are actively hunting the Mongolian source, and Huntley understands he's now part of the race to protect it.
So their immediate task, based on Morris's cryptic message, is to find the woman who feeds the tortoise. How did the sources describe them figuring this out?
Well, Thalia and Batu initially interpret the tortoise literally, visiting the ruins of Karakoram, which are guarded by stone tortoises symbolizing eternity.
Makes sense.
But it's empty. This leads them to realize the clue is about a person who performs the action, not a place with the symbol. They find a shamaness near Karakoram who speaks with the spirit world and literally makes offerings at one of the stone tortoises. She's the woman they seek.
Okay, the woman who feeds the tortoise. Got it.
The shamaness enters a trance, drumming and singing. What do the sources reveal about how her song functions as a clue?
How did that work?
This is where the sources introduce a really unique detail. The song isn't in a language Huntley understands, but it maps out a landscape. It contains the whole of Mongolia within its breadth and shape. And the key insight the sources give us is that Huntley is the one who can interpret it, not through language, but through feeling the song's impression and translating that into geography.
He can feel the landscape in the song.
Apparently. It's a frustrating process for him, described as a man of tangibles, having to rely on intuition. But it highlights his unexpected connection to this world, and how clues operate within it, a blend of the spiritual and the intuitive.
Fascinating, but difficult to navigate with.
Exactly. So to help with this unconventional tracking, they use a device created by another blade, Catullus Graves. What do the sources tell us about him and his invention?
Another blade. Okay.
The sources introduce Catullus Graves as one of the blade's scientific wizards, described as hopelessly clever. And here's a crucial detail the sources make a point of noting. Graves is black and comes from a family of inventors who have created devices for the blades for generations.
Really?
Yes. The compass itself was apparently designed by his great-great-grandmother. This isn't just a throwaway detail. The sources highlight this hidden history of innovation and contribution, suggesting that within this secret world, vital roles are played by individuals and families whose contributions might be overlooked in conventional history.
That's a great detail. So what's his invention?
His invention that helps them here is a viewing kite, described as a canvas eagle carrying a prism and lenses. When flown, it projects the landscape onto the ground below, allowing them to see much farther away than we ever could.
Like an early drone feed.
Kind of. Using this kite, combined with Huntley's interpretation of the shamaness's song, they successfully tracked the landscape described in the song, a moving field of crimson.
And this leads them to a vast encampment situated amidst acres of crimson flower.
It does. And the sources tell us the tribe here believes they possess the source. A massive ruby, perhaps like the one Genghis Khan held at birth.
A giant ruby. That sounds like a source.
It does. Diplomacy initially fails. The tribe is wary, though they do find Huntley ordering the chieftain's dog amusing, which the sources note helps break the ice slightly.
Since diplomacy isn't working, what new tactic do Huntley and Thalia adopt, according to the sources?
They decide to enter the tribe's annual Nadam, a tournament of horse racing, archery, and wrestling.
A tournament? Seriously?
Yeah. The sources emphasize how the tribe finds this amusing, a man and a woman competing together as a team. But it's their way to get close to the supposed source, the ruby.
Okay, if it works. And the sources reveal the heirs are also here, competing for the ruby. Send, the large Mongol from Southampton, is among them. What unique ability does Send possess, according to the sources?
He has the mark of Antaeus, which grants him power when touching the earth through his feet, like the giant from Greek myth.
Ah, okay. That detail becomes crucial in the wrestling match, I bet.
You bet correctly.
Yeah.
The Nadam proceeds. Huntley races horses, finishes in the top 8. Thalia competes in archery, where the sources note she is an exceptional shot, winning the competition despite her earlier protests.
Good for her.
And then Huntley faces Send in wrestling. Describe that key showdown as presented in the sources.
Okay, the big match.
Huntley's military mind kicks in. The sources show him analyzing Send's fighting style and quickly identifying the source of his power, the earth connection via his feet. His strategy is simple but physically demanding. Lift Send off the ground. It's presented as a brutal struggle against Send's superior weight, but Huntley succeeds in hoisting him up, neutralizing the mark.
He manages it. Wow.
He does. And Thalia plays a direct role in Send's defeat here, according to the sources.
What does she do?
Yes, she immediately rushes forward and splashes water on Send's feet once he's down, explicitly stated in the sources as destroying the mark of Antaeus. It shows their partnership and her active role in combat.
Teamwork.
Exactly. By winning the wrestling, Huntley and Thalia win the Nadam.
And as victors, they are entrusted with the ruby for a year, swearing oaths to protect it. But here's a twist the sources reveal. The ruby isn't the true source.
Right. After all that effort, it's a powerful moment of misdirection in the sources. They test the ruby using hunting eagles, which Thalia knows are sensitive to magic, partly from observing lamb, the air, and the birds have no reaction, none at all. Thalia is devastated, thinking she's failed.
Oh, no. But the true source, according to the sources, is right there in plain sight. What is it?
It's an old Chinese tea kettle belonging to the chieftain's wife, Oyun.
A tea kettle.
A tea kettle. Thalia notices its age, hundreds of years old, and a sense that it felt alive. When they test this with the eagles, the sources describe the birds reacting intensely, shrieking and trying to get to it.
Okay, that's a reaction.
And the sources describe a further test using water and fire in the kettle that reveals its immense power.
What happens?
This is perhaps the most fascinating insight from the sources about the nature of sources. A dense steam cloud pours out, and within it, visions appear. They see the tribe's recent history, Karakoram in its prime, the kettle's journey with traders to the tribe, and its history with monks at a desert monastery.
Wow, like a history viewer.
Exactly. They witness scenes of ancient warfare and destruction, going backward in time, and even see Genghis Khan himself described as having ruthless intelligence and power that was a palpable thing.
So the core insight here, based on these sources, is that the true source, an object of incredible power capable of revealing history and potentially much more, wasn't a legendary ruby, but a humble, everyday tea kettle used for centuries by ordinary people who are completely unaware of its power.
Exactly. It powerfully illustrates how sources aren't always grand, mythical artifacts, but can be mundane objects in which immense power is hidden or simply misunderstood for generations. The sources emphasize this contrast between the humble exterior and the extraordinary power within.
Incredible. With the true source identified, their plan becomes clear. travel to the monastery seen in the visions, believing it to be the safest place as the monks there historically knew how to control its power.
Right, and on their journey, the sources describe them gaining unexpected allies.
Oh,
They encounter Altan and his bandits. Now, while Altan takes the ruby, which they agree will be returned to the tribe later, Thalia, using some clever diplomacy, convinces him and his men to help protect their own freedom from the encroaching heirs by escorting the group.
bandits as allies. Okay.
It shows the sources highlighting the idea that even disparate groups can find common cause against a shared threat.
Makes sense. The journey is tense, with the heirs pursuing them, using a magical tracking method described in the sources. A bird spy controlled by Lamb. Huntley's instincts tell him they're being followed through the desert.
Yeah, the pressure's on. They finally reach the monastery, Sha Chuanxi, described in the sources as formidable and impenetrable. And here they meet other blades who've gathered.
More blades arrive. Who joins them?
The sources introduce a fascinating, diverse group. There's Bennett Day, described as diplomatic, a good shot, and skilled in acrobatics.
Acrobatics. Interesting skill set.
Isn't it? Catullus Graves is there, the scientific wizard we met earlier, his presence reinforcing the blend of science and magic within the blades, and his background as a black inventor, continuing to subtly highlight hidden histories.
Right, the kite guy.
And Su Ming, a Chinese blade and translator. They also meet the head monk, Lan Shen, and his monks.
So a real gathering of forces.
Definitely. The head monk confirms the monastery's ancient connection to the kettle and their knowledge of controlling its power. The sources make it clear the monks were willing to help protect it. This diverse assembly, blades, bandits, tribesmen, monks, Huntley, Thalia, prepares for the coming siege.
Huntley steps up here, doesn't he?
He does. Using his military training, he steps into a leadership role, assessing defenses and assigning positions, treating everyone as soldiers, including Thalia and Bennett, placing them as snipers in the pagoda.
Smart move. The heirs arrive with a large force, described as over 100 mercenaries, led by Lamb and Edgeworth and bringing their own magic. Edgeworth uses a golem to attack the gate, and Lamb uses his bird spy for reconnaissance.
Yep, the siege begins. The sources describe the battle vividly. It's a fight on the walls and in the courtyard. What details do the sources provide about the different groups fighting and their methods?
How does everyone contribute?
Altan's bandits provide sniping support from the walls. The blades engage in close combat. And the sources highlight a surprising defense from the monks. Despite not being conventional fighters, they are masters of incredibly advanced martial arts.
Fighting monks.
Oh yeah, described with details like flying kicks, powerful fists, joint locks, and choking strikes. Their skill is a formidable defense in itself.
Wow. And the kettle, the source, also plays a role in the defense, according to the sources.
Yes, Lan Shun, the head monk, uses the kettle's power to summon a powerful guardian, the smoke dragon, which emerges from the steam.
A smoke dragon.
A smoke dragon. This magical entity battles Edgeworth's golem in a clash of magical forces, adding another layer to the combat described in the sources.
Magic versus magic, okay. The sources also detail key individual confrontations during the battle.
Absolutely. Thalia proves invaluable as a sniper from the pagoda. Bennett Day takes on the golem, needing to get close to remove a magical amulet that powers it. Huntley leads skirmishers and faces Send, the large Mongol, in a rematch. This time, Huntley kills Send with his revolver, a decisive end to their rivalry, as presented in the sources.
Settles that score, and Thalia faces Lamb, the heir who tracked them. What happens in that struggle, according to the sources?
It's described as a brutal, personal fight. Lamb tries to capture Thalia, but she fights back fiercely. The sources describe her grabbing his knife with her bare hand, cutting herself, but managing to turn the blade on him.
Ouch.
Yeah, she ultimately kills Lamb with his own knife. This moment, as described in the sources, powerfully demonstrates Thalia's capability, resilience, and willingness to be ruthless when necessary for survival and the mission.
She's definitely not just a genteel lady.
Not even close. With Send and Lamb dead, the sources state the remaining mercenaries break and flee. The monastery is safe, though damaged. Bennett Day survives his encounter with the golem, battered but successful.
They held them off. So, in the aftermath, the sources describe a period of recovery. Catullus Graves calmly assesses the situation, expressing confidence that they can handle Edgeworth if he returns. The kettle is returned to the monks for protection.
Right, a moment to breathe.
And for Gabriel Huntley, this experience solidifies his path. What decision does he make, according to the sources?
He realizes he belongs in this world now. The textile agent job in Leeds is a distant memory. He asks to become a blade, stating he feels he's earned it.
Makes sense.
The other blades, recognizing his commitment and actions, accept him. The sources show his transformation from a soldier seeking quiet stability to one embracing adventure and purpose in a hidden world.
A new life, really. And amidst this new beginning, the sources also detail a deeply personal moment between Gabriel and Thalia.
Yes, their shared experience and the dangers they faced have forged a powerful bond. Gabriel proposes to Thalia.
He proposes right there.
Pretty much. The sources capture his struggle to maintain his composure, admitting he has to tell himself she's just another soldier, because if he thought of her as Thalia, the woman I love, the woman I want to be my wife, he'd lose his focus.
Wow, that's quite an admission.
It highlights the depth of his feelings, revealed even in the midst of the aftermath of battle. Thalia accepts.
A battlefield proposal, okay. The sources give us a glimpse into their future, an epilogue showing Gabriel and Thalia married, living on the steppe. They continue their work as blades. What else do the sources mention about their future and the ongoing conflict?
They are shown defending the ruby, which was returned to the tribe from treasure hunters, indicating the source-related conflicts aren't always large-scale magical battles. They can be smaller protective actions.
Still protecting things.
Yeah, and the forces note that the ruby's magic is still flowing in the area, a residual effect of the kettle's power having been there, suggesting the lingering impact of sources on the landscape.
Interesting ripple effect. And the sources hint that the conflict is global, teasing adventures for other blades in different parts of the world.
Right, we see mentions of Bennett Day in Greece, dealing with ancient sources and a woman connected to someone seeking power. Catullus Gray's is teased with a future story in London, facing a new threat alongside a sharp American reporter named Gemma Murphy.
Oh, the inventor gets his own adventure.
Seems like it. And Astrid Bramfield, a former blade in the Canadian wilderness, is drawn back by a man named Nathan Lesperance. These snippets from the sources expand the scope, showing the Blades network and the ongoing struggle against those who would exploit magic occurring across the globe, not just in Mongolia.
So let's distill what this deep dive into these sources has revealed. We started with a soldier returning home, seemingly headed for an ordinary life, only for a chance encounter to pull him into a secret world.
And these sources unveil that magic isn't just myth, it's real power contained in sources, which can be anything from powerful artifacts like Mjolnir, maybe, to seemingly humble objects like a tea kettle.
Yeah.
We learned about two ancient global organizations, the Blades, who protect these sources, and the Heirs, who seek to exploit them for power, specifically imperial power in their case.
And crucially, the sources show us the kind of people who populate this hidden world. Not just powerful mages, but soldiers, inventors, scholars, shamans, monks, bandits, a truly diverse group.
Yeah.
Not just one type.
Right. It suggests that the capability to interact with or protect this world isn't limited to a select few. Details like Catullus Grave's background specifically highlight how vital, yet potentially hidden, contributions are made within this secret history.
It makes you reconsider what power really looks like, doesn't it? It can be obvious like a golem, but it can also be overlooked, hidden in plain sight like a kettle used for boiling water. The sources emphasize that appearances can be deceiving.
Absolutely. And Huntley's journey, moving from a traditional soldier's life to accepting magic and finding his place among the Blades, reviews how easily someone can cross the threshold into this hidden reality when circumstances align. He finds a new purpose far beyond the quiet stability he initially sought.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you, listening right now. This deep dive, pulled from this stack of sources, revealed a world where magic, secret societies, and hidden powers exist just outside our awareness, triggered by unexpected events and contained in surprising places. It begs the question, if, within the context of this story, such layers of reality and history can be hidden, waiting for discovery, what other layers might be hidden in our own world? What unexpected power or history might be right in front of us, waiting to be seen, in the sources of information and the everyday objects we encounter? It encourages looking at the world with, a new kind of curiosity.